Richmond, north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Living in
That is such a valuable piece of advice there.
These are the sorts of things that we should talk about right in the first 5 minutes of the podcast.
Started giving people free quotes.
In sunshine and rainbows, it is
Definitely a thing for just being a solo
The
operator.
change in mindset makes a massive difference.
Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
So, Cass, welcome back. We want to talk about your equipment a bit more. And not just for the sake of talking about equipment, but talking about the different types of jobs that you do. You do quite a range of jobs, and I think any new business is finding their feet. They look at doing anything they can do to make sure they've got a busy schedule.
Yeah, definitely.
I know there's a number of jobs I've done once, or maybe even more than once, that I've gone, I'd never do that again.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same with that bloody rock removal job. It's sort of you leave there and you just never look back.
I did a job like that this week, and it's not rock removal. It's just putting mulch in garden beds. But
yeah,
I'm 47. I'm getting lazy, and I was moving a lot of mulch. And I was after moving a lot of mulch one day, and then the next day I started doing the same thing. And after 2 hours, I was like, you know what? I'm packing up. I'm going home.
Yeah. I've had a couple of those instances. I've got carpal tunnel in my wrist and a marble-sized ganglion cyst in my right wrist. So mobility in my hands, some days I can't even hold a bloody toothbrush. And I got to this one job where I had to move 2 meters of toppings. And I was by myself, and it was pouring rain, and I could only get about 7 shovels worth. I counted it because I was like, I actually can't do this anymore. I got about 7 shovels worth into the wheelbarrow, and then I'd have to lug it up a set of stairs and drop it out the back. And it was definitely one of those jobs where I was like, maybe the admin job actually was pretty damn good.
But then you look at the pay and you go, nah.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of break that thing down. You're like, no, mate, it wasn't good.
As long as you're charging enough for those physical jobs. And I was talking to somebody else this week about charging more for physically exhausting jobs, and going, okay, if I can charge $100 an hour, the stupid number we were referring to, for basic lawn mowing, self-propelled or the ride-on work, and I'm not working too hard, $100 an hour. If I'm going to move rocks or wheelbarrow loads of dirt or pebbles or wood chip or whatever it is, I should make a bit of a premium on this. I should make sure that my profit margin, and I would refer to profit margin as after paying wages as well as other expenses, being somewhere between 15 and 30%. But if I'm going to wreck myself, then that profit margin should go up.
Yeah, exactly right. And even after that job, I quoted so low on that. And I have some jobs today, like I'm 22 and I'm hobbling around a house and I can't hold my toothbrush, and I'm like, what am I doing? But yeah,
you probably can't see it, but you can see across that wrist there's a surgical scar. That's from removing a ganglion cyst. So get rid of that thing, get back to work, and you'll be so thankful it's gone.
Yeah, because I actually got an ultrasound the other day. Got to see whether it was a girl or a boy. But the lady was like, oh, if you get rid of it, it'll just come back. But I'm like, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just make my life so much bloody easier if it's gone, because it definitely hurts.
Yeah, they have to tell you the risks that can come back, right? But if you said it's the size of a marble, I'm guessing it's a boy.
And it's growing. It started off tiny and now it's like a marble. It's bloody hell.
Yeah, you better check what hormones it's on.
Yeah. My nerves, the nerves in my wrist are triple the size of what they should be.
Yeah, that's not good, is it?
No, the ultrasound, she was like, oh. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you want to get on top of that before it gets worse. Otherwise, you'll end up a cripple very quickly.
Yeah.
This is my wife speaking. She's a hand therapist, and she would be telling you cannot do this.
Yeah.
Got to get this sorted out ASAP.
Yeah, definitely need to get something done with it, but can't mow lawns without your hands. So
we wanted to talk about your equipment, and your hands are part of your equipment list. But so for your average day lawn mowing, you've got your self-propelled and your ride-on work. You've got a bunch of handheld power tools as well. Now,
Mhm.
have you looked at battery tools for any of the handheld gear?
Yeah, I definitely have. I've got my eye on, well, I mean, the batteries I run already, which we were given as a present from my father-in-law when we moved into our house. It's DeWalt. So I've been looking at DeWalt pruners. I reckon they would be unreal. So it's definitely something I'm looking into is battery. I've got my eye on it, but I was so skeptical about battery beforehand
Yeah.
that, yeah, it's definitely one of those things. But I mean, my uncle, all battery equipment. So it's like,
Yeah.
you can do it. I just need to get to that point because it was in my head that how am I supposed to charge on the go? But
I was
yeah,
I was fortunate enough to go to a dealer conference this year. And
yeah,
talking to dealers, the stark contrast between contractors and dealers is absolutely amazing. I
yeah,
would say
right.
that with contractors, and skewed perspective here with LMCA, there is a very large percentage of contractors that have started using battery tools for their
Yeah,
handheld OPE.
yeah,
Um, Whereas when you talk to dealers, they are selling 95% petrol.
yeah.
So if you're going to ask your dealer, they're going to be pretty skeptical of battery and they're going to push the petrol tool every time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you talk to people on LMCA and you'd be an idiot if you're not using battery.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even the contractor that I saw at the tip, I had all my battery tools, and he whipped out his little. It was a still, it was battery blower, and he handed it to me, and the thing's so light. It's like, oh, wow.
Look, the battery blower is probably, I'd be reluctant to say the blower is the gateway tool to battery, but it's close to as good as hedge trimming with a battery hedge trimmer. So
Yeah,
those tools are the gateway drug to battery tools
yeah,
because
yeah.
they just make so much more sense than the petrol alternatives.
Mm-hmm. I definitely reckon a battery hedge trimmer would benefit. Even though I hate to admit that because me and Jake were bickering about whether go battery or petrol, and I was like, nah, petrol.
Yeah.
And he said battery. Now I'm thinking battery was good, but I will not admit that he was right.
Double check with a hedge trimmer because there are a number of brands that have released battery hedge trimmers that have got a blade speed or
Oh,
SPM as they
wow.
refer to, which
Yeah.
is too slow. So
Oh, okay.
if you go to the OG of the best hedge trimmers in battery tools, Makita, their blade
Mm-hmm.
speed is up around 4,400 SPM.
Yeah.
Ego have recently released their new commercial lineup, which has the higher SPM it hits that magic mark where it's working really
Yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Husqvarna, I've had Husqvarna battery hedge trimmers for years now. So I
Yeah.
started using battery in 2018.
Wow. Yeah.
And Husqvarna hit the mark spot on first time with the hedge trimmers, whereas all the other brands, they took a couple of years after that to get the mark. But
Yeah.
the one that's caught me at the moment is going back to what you were first saying. That's the handheld pruners or secateurs.
Yeah. Yeah. They look great.
I've got a set of Japanese secateurs that just lives in my pocket. So I think pretty sure I've accidentally put them through the wash. But
Yeah.
the Japanese secateurs or the Felcos, and not the Felco number twos because I'm left-handed. But those things get a lot of use when you do gardening jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas now I've got the Milwaukee powered secateurs.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need to buy a new blade for them because I've used them that much.
Wow. Yeah. Definitely reckon that's high up on the list. Although I'm terrible for leaving equipment at jobs. It is shocking. Like I'll just,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I know if it's battery, I don't think I'll be able to leave it there. But my seckies fall out of my pocket and then it's game over. I drive off without them.
Well, the powered secateurs won't fit in your pocket, so that's
Yeah.
half the reason why you won't lose them as easily.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the Milwaukee's come in at $400 and something for a set, so
Wow.
that's one of the
Yeah.
better priced options. If you go to the Makita, I think they're up around $1,100.
Yeah.
And then you can buy the aftermarket brand ones, of course, for next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or you could go Ryobi or Ozito if you're so inclined. And
Yeah.
I won't judge you for buying those brands. I may have bought tools in those brands myself.
I tell you, Ryobi's got absolutely everything now. But yeah,
They do.
no, I really only had DeWalt, but I've got my eye on Makita. They seem to be got everything. So
I originally opted to go for Makita when it comes to things like a rattle gun and your grinder and all your basic power tools. And my son's gone for Milwaukee, and my brother's gone for AEG, and it's like, well, most of the decent brands have got decent tools.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
But occasionally you'll find one that just rings true of being an awesome tool. And I think that the original Makita hedge trimmers were one of those. And then, like I said, with Husky, when Husky started putting battery tools out, they just hit it out of the park straight away.
Yeah.
But now I was a Still fanboy before battery tools, and it's very tempting to go back to Still now with some of their battery tools. But
yeah,
I've got a lot of Ego, and the Ego tools I've got, every one of them is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, my uncle, all he runs is Ego, and he's got his setup absolutely mint at the minute. So it's like maybe I will start incorporating battery stuff, but I just had it in my head before I started that I don't know how I'm going to make it feasible to be able to get through an entire day with a few batteries. Whereas a couple of jerry cans is fantastic.
Start looking at your numbers with your fuel usage.
Yeah, okay.
I use 0, but you don't have to use 0.
Yeah.
And every time I buy fuel, it's either for my equipment or it's for my vehicle. And if it's diesel, it's for the vehicle. If it's not diesel, it's for my equipment. And when I put it into 0, I put in the equipment fuel as equipment so that when the accountant goes through there, he can claim the road tax back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So it's like a Christmas present to yourself. You just get you save money off your GST bill, or you get money back from the government for taxes that you shouldn't have had to pay in the first place.
Exactly. Works either way.
Yeah. So then, being in 0, it's very easy for me to go into 0, and I've set it as a widget, so it comes up when I open 0 and tells me how much money I've spent this year on equipment fuel and vehicle fuel.
Wow. Yeah.
And so that's really easy to analyze that and go, you know what? And I've made the move to battery, but I've still got 2 ride-ons. Efficiency is the thing that rules a business and the decisions you make as a small business owner. Right Mowers give you the options in their product lineup to match efficiency with size, fuel usage, and the type of jobs you want to target, from catching to mulching or side discharge, from roadside verges to acreages, and manicured lawns to 6 feet tall and super long. I've been using the Right Stander I 42-inch with a Catch Pro for manicured areas and the Stander ZK61 to maximise productivity for large open acreage mowing. If you need to replace your push mower, try the 32-inch Stander B. If you have more open access to residential properties, there's a 42 through 48-inch option that suits you. And if you want to enter the acreage market, the 52, 61 and 72-inch machines have choices in engine size and model type to suit the work you want it to do. Right Standards go the distance, saving you time and money season after season. To stand-on mowers. And the amount of use... The amount of fuel that the stand-on mowers use is still substantial.
Yeah.
But the amount of fuel I would be using if I was running 2-stroke handheld tools would be a lot more.
Yeah, especially 2-stroke. I go through so much. Like the jerry can that I've got that's just got unleaded in it, that lasts for weeks. But 2-stroke, that goes so quickly. It's unreal.
Yeah. A small hack with the 2-stroke, a lot of people run a 5-litre jerry for the 2-stroke fuel.
Yeah, that's mine, and it's too small.
I went to a 10-litre.
Yeah.
And the reason being is once it's less than half full, next time I'm at the service station, I can chuck 5 litres in it and, 100 mils of oil for 5 litres, so that I know that I've got my ratio right and I don't have to second guess myself, and I don't have to wait until I've run out of 2-stroke to go and buy more. Yes,
that's true. Honestly, it's been a couple of instances where I'm at the BP at bloody 6 in the morning because I ran out of fuel, and I'm like, I've got to go top up for today. It's a whole thing. Yeah, bigger jerry can is definitely on the cards as well.
So with a 5-litre jerry for 2-stroke, I pretty much guarantee you that I would use it up before I would go and buy more. Whereas a 10-litre, I could count on one hand in the last, I'm going to guess it's probably 6 or 7 years since I've had a 10-litre for 2-stroke. Yeah, on one hand, the number of times I've run out of 2-stroke fuel.
Yeah, right. Definitely makes a difference. There's been a couple of times where I'm at a job and I'm like, oh boy, now I got to take fuel out of my normal unleaded can and just mix it up because
Yeah.
I've run out.
Yeah, been there, done
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Switching battery helps with that too.
That's true. Yeah, maybe it is a way to go to eliminate that issue.
Well, it is an interesting sum with the batteries to work out whether you're breaking even or whether the battery tools are actually a better choice than petrol tools. And
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people argue that they don't see the value in going to battery for those reasons because of the number of batteries you got to buy and how expensive the batteries are. And it's a big hurdle when
Yeah.
you're used to buying $15-20 worth of two-stroke fuel at a time, and then you're going,
Yeah.
well, I've got to spend $400 on a battery and I need to buy 10 of them.
Yeah, but then again, if you work out all your costs, in the end, it probably either matches up or it's more expensive to have fuel all year. So,
Oh,
yeah.
definitely. It costs more to burn fuel than it does to use a battery. So,
Yeah, exactly.
and, I've heard people argue that that's not true as well, but I'll leave them where they are. And
Yeah.
so if you look at it from this point of view, okay, if you replace all of your petrol tools immediately with all battery tools, you're up for a few $1,000s, probably $5,000 to $10,000, just straight up to make a change from your two-stroke handheld tools.
Yeah.
If you start with one and go hedge trimmer or blower, you
Yeah.
buy the skin, and chances are you'll probably buy a kit because it's your first entry into battery gear, right? So you might be at somewhere around $500 to $800 for your first tool with a kit.
Yeah.
That'll probably have enough batteries for that tool that you won't need to buy more batteries just for that tool. So if you're doing the blower or the hedge trimmer, that is likely to be true.
Yeah.
If you then go, okay, after you've bought one, buy the other. So then you've got the blower and the hedge trimmer. If you buy another kit, that's still going to be true. And even if you just buy a skin, you'll probably still find that will be okay for most days, unless you're doing a really big day hedge jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, got to wrap my head around it, but definitely reckon, yeah, battery will be the way to go in terms of bringing in new equipment, I reckon.
Yeah. But if you do that, by the time you've done the blower and the hedge trimmer, then you've done the dirty tools, right? Because it's hedge jobs and blow jobs. But after you've done that, then you can go, okay, if I need to go to a whippersnipper or a backpack blower or a chainsaw, some of those tools that are a lot thirstier on the batteries, at that point you've already got a few batteries in your arsenal, and it's not that much more to add another battery or two. Or you might get a battery redemption, you'll find anyway.
Yeah.
Some brands are really good at offering battery redemption.
Yeah, okay.
So just watch the tool shops or your dealers to find out if they're going to offer a redemption on a tool at any point in time to get a battery thrown in, and that's the right time to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, well, so have you got any other interesting tools? Because you do a variety of jobs. So you're saying gutter cleaning and garden cleanup jobs. Have you found you've started looking at unique tools like tripod ladders or anything particular interesting for doing those jobs?
I definitely need to find a better system. I've got one ladder now that's it folds up. It's tiny. It just folds up on itself, so I can really fit it in anywhere. But it's more, I want one of those big A-frame ladders because I am very short. So even I'm only 5 foot. So a standard ladder would get someone who's 6 foot tall up a lot further than me.
Yes.
So I was like, I need one of those humongous ladders but at the minute it's just me and my tiny little ladder.
They're not just a foot taller than you, they've also got longer arms.
And longer legs. It's insane. Yeah. I'm not built very well for this type of job, but hey.
Yeah, I would recommend looking at a tripod ladder because their legs are spread further apart. There's a lot more stable than a regular A-frame.
Yeah, especially with the tiny little A-frame, like collapsible one that I have now. You find I'm trying to move it in 15 different spots just so I don't go arse over. So it's really like I don't want to fall off this roof, but yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are there any other interesting tools you've found or you're looking for those odd jobs that you do?
I really want, because I've just got a standard blower at the minute, but I'm wondering if one of those vacuum blowers would be really good. That way you don't
Yeah.
have to, yeah, that'd be good to be able to suck all the leaves up instead of just blowing them in every which way.
Yeah. I've seen people go one of two directions with this, and I've used, but I have not bought a vac blow.
Yeah.
I've used one and I found it useless.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I've talked to other people that love it.
Yeah.
And I guess it depends on the type of job you're doing with it. So I would suggest going for a walk behind vacuum, like a billy goat vacuum, if you're doing a lot of leaf cleanup type work,
Yeah.
or a backpack blower.
Yeah, okay.
So if you can blow it somewhere where it's out of your way, then a backpack blower is a really good solution.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're blowing it into a pile and then you pick up the pile, or you're blowing it out somewhere where you can mulch it or pick it up with your lawnmower, those options come up with a backpack blower. Otherwise, the billy goat vacuum is one I've seen a lot of contractors go to if they're doing a lot of hard surfaces where they need them to come up clean quickly.
Yeah, right. It's all, especially just starting out, really. It's good now because I can get all those recommendations and look for what's best and what's suited, like going into battery or,
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. But if you try a backpack blower, a decent one, you'll find that the amount of volume that they move compared to a handheld blower is massive.
Yeah,
So
right.
when it comes to leaf cleanup, or if you're doing a blowdown where the surfaces are wet, then that makes all the difference because your handheld blower will often struggle to move the leaves and sticks when they're
It
wet.
sticks to the bloody concrete like glue.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good backpack blower will fix a lot of those problems.
Yeah, right.
And nowadays, some of the handheld battery ones are almost as strong as the backpack petrol ones, but they don't have the runtime. So I'm looking very close at that segment at the moment for a battery-powered backpack blower that will blow me out of the water, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we've covered a fair bit of interesting topics in terms of tools and the interesting jobs that you're doing at the moment. I want to know what's going on inside Cassie's head. And I'm thinking about the future. So in terms of what you envisage for your business, because you've only been in it for 6 months, but you are young and you are aspiring to great things by the sounds of it.
I hope so. I mean, in the future, I'm hoping to have. I mean, I'm by myself at the minute now. The majority of the time, I do have help here and there, but I'll be looking. I reckon I'll be looking to hire coming into the big season. That'll take a weight off my shoulders, and I want to push a different side of Jacass. So it won't be Jacass Property Services. I'm hoping to also have Jacass Excavation. So that'll be earth moving and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely an ambitious thought, but I reckon hopefully I can do it. But yeah, that'll be good in the end to have that. And honestly, just to have a couple of different setups, having a couple of different utes, because at the minute it's just mine.
Yeah.
So yeah, just growing and continuing to grow is definitely hopefully on the cards. But I think I'm on the right track at the minute.
I think that the way you're going, you will need an employee this coming season for sure.
I'm hoping so. I mean, yeah, some of the stuff I do by myself, I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Like I hired a whacker plate for a job I did a couple of weeks ago. And I went up to the guy and he lifted it in with like one of those little cranes.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, oh boy. And I'm like, how much does that weigh, mate? And he goes, 70 kilos. And I'm like, oh shit, you know what else weighs 70 kilos? Me. I'm like, great, this is going to be interesting. So that took all my bloody mighty getting that thing in. But hey, I did it. And there's a few different things that I've done that I'm like, probably should not have done that by myself. But with an employee, that'll be so much easier. So it's next few months I'll be hiring someone, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I think that'll be interesting to see how you go with this next season. I'm expecting big things, but
I'm
a little bit of
hoping so.
advice on the Jacass excavations. Is your partner Jake work with you much?
Not at the minute.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, he's a truck driver. He loves his job. His boss has actually helped me out an unbelievable amount.
Yeah.
But maybe down the track.
Now, the
Yeah.
reason I say that, not because I'm thinking that you couldn't operate excavating equipment, but
Oh, definitely not. I'd drive off the truck backwards or something and fall
no,
off the side.
honestly, I've had an excavator, and it's like a zero-turn mower. Once you learn to use the excavator, it becomes an extension of your body. And I
Yeah.
can show you video of my daughter when she was, I'm going to say maybe 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old,
Yeah.
using my excavator.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to learn how to use it. The reason I'm
Yeah.
asking that is because when you go into a different category of jobs like excavation, then you really need to have multiple teams to be able to make the most out
That's
of that
exactly
equipment.
right. Yeah. So I reckon I'll still continue to do the property. What am I? Property services. I'll continue to do the property services side, and then hopefully years down the track, Jake will be doing excavation work.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
it'll be good to have two teams, but yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And the reason I say that, I've talked to Grant Little recently. He's up North New South Wales, Lismore direction.
Mhm.
He actually did like I've done, where I bought an excavator and I operated the excavator when the lawn mowing wasn't busy in wintertime.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's made a really successful business doing that, and I sold the excavator and found it was a waste of time trying to juggle the excavator work in winter and not using it at all through 7 months out of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I don't reckon trying to operate two businesses at one time, I think I will actually combust. I think that's another thing, like, especially trying to learn everything and also trying to look into the future at the same time. You've got so many things on the go, you can't switch off at night.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Like, I was lying in bed the other night quoting a job. I'm like, mate, this is ridiculous. So it's just finding that happy medium, but hopefully we'll just continue to grow and smash goals and stuff.
Yeah, don't let me put you off trying anything like that. I'm just simply saying that there are ways to do it that make it more worthwhile.
Yeah.
And, growing the business to the point where you can have a arm of the business that is dedicated to excavation is going to make it a lot more successful than trying to do both at once.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it was maybe even a thought of just having it under Jacass Property Services, or even knocking out the property services name and just being Jacass. But then we'd probably get copyrighted. But
well, I think at that point in time, you might need to have a parent company, because did you start out as a sole trader or as a company?
Yeah, I'm a sole trader. My accountant wants me to be a company, but I'm not sure if I should take the leap just yet.
Go and ask your accountant why. And I talked to an accountant, but I went and talked to a business accountant. The first accountant I talked to, I fired them. I was like, no, sorry, you don't know what you're talking about. I'll go and find a business accountant. I explained to the business accountant that I wanted my business to achieve certain things with tax law, as well as, maximising the benefits that I can get and have workers' comp that covers me as a working director for the company. Yeah. And so they set up the business structure to suit that.
Yeah. It's definitely something to look into. Like, at the minute I'm a sole trade, but going into the future, I'm like, what will I be?
Well, if you're going to start having multiple different arms of the company, then that's where it's really good to get the right advice and do it properly.
Yeah, exactly. I want to do it once, do it right. Yeah,
and don't take my word for it, because I'm by no means the right person to give you advice. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting, Cass. I've been enjoying talking to you and learnt a lot about you and what you do. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. Sometimes too much, but hey.
Well, I'm going to say congratulations doing what you're doing. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Hopefully it'll continue to grow and be good.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.